I was supposed to be flying a cargo hauler over Europa, not standing on the bridge of a starship surrounded by 6-foot-tall alien warrior women glaring at me like I'd insulted their ancestors. 1 second, I was negotiating space lanes and autopilot calibrations, and the next, I was being yanked through a vortex of light and sound that felt like getting squeezed through a black hole made of static and nausea. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in my rust bucket anymore. I was standing on polished obsidian floors beneath glowing violet lights, staring at a control panel way too high-tech for my pay grade. "Commander," a deep, melodic voice snapped me out of it. I turned. She looked like a goddess sculpted from violet quartz, luminous eyes, crystalline skin, flowing battle robes that shimmered with embedded circuitry. She stood at parade rest, arms crossed, face stern. What the hell is this?" I asked. She raised one eyebrow. "We initiated the emergency transfer protocol. Your neural signature matched the command criteria. You are now in command of the *Valerieth*, Warship-class dreadnought, of the Zarethrian Imperial Guard." I was hauling biofuel. I blurted. Another warrior, leaner and sporting luminous tattoos that pulsed with her heartbeat, stepped forward. "We know. But the protocol has been activated. You're it." The ship hummed beneath me, alive, aware. My thoughts buzzed with the hum, syncing with it like a whisper at the edge of my brain. The bridge around me bloomed into life, holographic stars, floating tactical readouts, energy signatures. Then a proximity alert blared. "Multiple hostiles approaching, warp signatures confirmed," the crystalline warrior said. "It seems they followed us through the rift." Wait. Hostiles? What kind of hostiles? "The dreadnought. Hive-born scavengers. They hunt warships for sport. We're defenseless until systems reboot and the Matrix core aligns. That will take 7 minutes. I wasn't trained for this. I'd barely passed flight school. But when I looked into the eyes of the alien warriors, each one proud, armed, and ready to die for their ship, I felt something settle in my chest. Responsibility. Or maybe insanity. "All right," I said, finding my voice. "We've got 7 minutes to make them wish they'd never poked their claws through our galaxy. Tell me what this ship can still do." They exchanged looks. The smallest one, a crimson-skinned warrior with storm-gray eyes, grinned. "Manual weapons are still online. Gravity turrets, phase mines, and something called a singularity spear. But it all requires coordination." "Then let's coordinate." My hands were already moving over the interface. The ship didn't resist me. In fact, it responded like it had been waiting for someone like me. It filled in the gaps between what I knew and what I needed. Tactical overlays, energy management systems, enemy trajectory streaming across my field of vision like I was wearing neural-enhanced goggles. The dreadnought ships pierced into local space, shrieking shapes of metal and organics. Twisting hulls. Gnashing pincers. Weapons bristling with anti-void energy. "We've got incoming on Vector Delta 9. I yelled. The crew moved. Each one took a station. Crystals lit up. Holograms burst to life. Weapons engaged. I directed the gravity turrets to fire a spread pattern, aiming not to destroy but to herd. Then I saw it, a vulnerable point in their flight formation. "Now. Fire singularity spear." The crimson warrior grinned and slammed her hand down. The ship shuddered, and a crack in space tore open in front of us. A gleaming spear of nothingness launched from the prow and swallowed the nearest dreadnought vessel whole. The others hesitated. That was our window. Deploy phase mines behind them. Make it look like we're retreating. Then swing back and hit their rear with the turrets. The warriors followed without hesitation. They didn't question me. And I didn't hesitate to lead. Because in that moment, with adrenaline burning in my veins and alien technology responding to my thoughts like an extension of my body, I wasn't a cargo pilot. I was the commander of the *Valerieth*. The enemy regrouped faster than I expected. Their ships adapted, cloaked, scattered. We were down to 5 minutes on the reboot timer. I had to keep them distracted. "Suggestions?" I asked the tall, violet-eyed warrior, clearly the second in command. "Decoy drive. Risky. Projects a false duplicate of us for 20 seconds. But if they see through it, we're toast. Got it. Let's do it. The decoy burst outward, a perfect replica of the Valerieth star. The dreadnought pounced. Our real ship veered up and over them, silent as a shadow. Hit their engines. Don't kill. Just slow. I didn't want to start a war I didn't understand. But I would end a battle. With coordinated fire, we disabled 3 of the enemy ships, forcing the rest to retreat to the outer edge of the system. The moment the last shot was fired, the ship hummed again, deeper, stronger. Matrix core aligned. Systems at full capacity. And just like that, the Valerieth was awake. I turned back to my new crew. They stood at attention, not cold, but not yet sure what to make of me. So, now what? The Violet Warrior stepped forward. Now we introduce you to the Council. And explain to the galaxy why a cargo pilot from Sol 3 now commands the most powerful warship in this quadrant. I exhaled slowly, trying to keep my knees from shaking. Great. Can I at least get a uniform first? The Crimson One laughed. Don't worry. We'll make sure you look the part. But you better act it too. Because the galaxy's watching now. As the stars shifted around us and the ship jumped to warp, I had one last thought. I had no idea what I was doing. But neither did the dreadnought. And I'd just made them run. The council chamber was nothing like I expected, no grand podiums or golden seats. Instead, it resembled a massive dome of shifting starlight, as if someone had turned the inside of a black hole into an auditorium. The walls pulsed with cosmic patterns, the floor was translucent and alive, and each of the 12 council members hovered within personalized energy shells that responded to their emotions. I stood in the center, very aware that I was the only human within 1,000 parsecs, wearing a borrowed tunic that shimmered like oil on water. My crew, the 6 alien warrior women I was now somehow in charge of, flanked me. Stoic. Silent. Watching. One of the counselors, a being shaped like a spiral galaxy condensed into a humanoid shell, leaned forward. Explain how a non-Zerethrian civilian accessed the emergency transfer protocol. I didn't ask for this, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. 1 minute I was flying cargo, the next I was, here. Your ship pulled me through some vortex and declared me commander. I just did what I had to do to not die. Yet you survived an ambush by the dreadnought. A feat few Zerethrian commanders achieve, even with preparation. Another counselor, a translucent creature with 6 eyes and fractal wings, spoke, their voice like echoing wind. The ship responded to him. That cannot be fabricated. The Valerieth chose. A long silence followed. Then the violet-eyed warrior, Ceres, I'd learned her name, stepped forward. I was second in command aboard the Valerieth. I opposed the emergency transfer at first. But the human displayed tactical intuition, leadership, and coordination that saved our lives. He's unorthodox, yes. But he may be exactly what we need. What you need for what? I asked. Ceres's jaw tightened. The council shifted uncomfortably. One of them sighed, their energy shell dimming. You weren't told the full story. The emergency transfer protocol wasn't just triggered by accident. It was bait. Bait. The Valerieth is more than a dreadnought. It's the last key to the astral gate, a relic capable of jumpstarting an ancient weapon hidden in the dark sector. The dreadnought are not the only ones after it. Entire civilizations would kill for that ship. My stomach twisted. So you put it into hibernation, set the protocol, and waited for someone to match the signature? Exactly. The gate requires a mind not bound by conventional logic. A chaotic signature. An unpredictable pattern. A human, I said. They nodded. I wanted to scream, but instead, I laughed. You abducted a hauler pilot to use as a galactic key to a doomsday device. You sure I'm the sane one in this room? The galaxy-shaped counselor flickered. Sanity is not a metric of relevance. You survived. You commanded. You opened the gate. Now, we must deal with the consequences. Before I could respond, alarms screamed through the chamber. Ceres snapped her head up. Emergency alert. Incoming warp breach, massive signature. Unknown origin. The counselor with fractal wings turned to me. "You're still commander. The Valerieth responds to you. Go." We ran. The bridge welcomed me like I'd never left. Holograms sprang to life, glowing lines traced ship systems, crew members took their positions without needing orders. I took the command chair not because I wanted to, but because everyone looked to me like I was the only solid thing in a collapsing universe. "Report." Ceres's fingers danced over her interface. An object just exited a warp tunnel inside the Council's orbital shield. It's not a ship. It's a beacon. A beacon? It's projecting a message across every major subspace band. Encrypted, but I've almost cracked it. I nodded. The Crimson Warrior, Kayla, the one who loved weapons too much, was already aiming turrets. "Decrypting now," Ceres said. The message played. A voice echoed through the bridge, calm and ancient. "To the one who commands the Valerieth, you have activated the gate. We are coming. The trial begins." Kayla hissed. "That's not a warning. That's a challenge." "What's the gate supposed to do again?" I asked. Ceres looked grim. "Legend says it's not a weapon in the traditional sense. It's a proving ground. A test of worth. It reveals the truth behind a civilization's soul. Those who fail, vanish." That would have been nice to know before. The ship rumbled as spatial distortions formed around us. One by one, colossal vessels emerged, massive, silent, shaped like twisted celestial beings. Each bore a single symbol, the Eye of the Gate. 12 ships, Kayla muttered. "All bigger than us." I stood. "Open a channel." "All of them." "They're not answering," Ceres said. "They're not here to talk." Then one ship surged forward, without warning, without weapon activation. It slammed toward us at impossible speed. "Evasive," I shouted. Kayla fired countermeasures. Ceres spun us into a barrel roll that made my stomach scream. The impact was narrowly avoided, but only just. "They're testing our reactions," I muttered. "It's a game. A brutal, galactic game." "Then we play," Kayla growled. "But we play to win," I said. The ship behind us unleashed drones, serpent-like machines with plasma spines. We countered with phase mines. Then the second ship joined. Then the third. The gate had begun. The Valerieth danced, struck, dodged. 4 hours, we endured. My body moved on instinct, my brain a blur of commands and patterns. We lost power twice. We repaired it on the fly. We faced illusions, psychic traps, gravitational inversions. And still, we endured. Then, suddenly, silence. Every ship vanished. Only a single message remained on our main screen. Phase 1, complete. I slumped in my seat. Ceres stared at me, eyes wide. "That was just Phase 1? I nodded slowly. "Yeah. And I have a feeling things are just getting started." Outside the viewport, the stars began to shift again, aligning in a pattern no one on the ship recognized, except maybe the Valerieth. Whatever the next phase was, it wasn't just about firepower anymore. It was about survival. And truth. And maybe even the soul of humanity itself. Phase 2 began without warning. The stars that had shifted outside the viewport snapped into alignment, forming a swirling fractal pattern, something that made my eyes water just looking at it. We were moving now, though no one had given the command. The Valerieth was responding to something we couldn't see, couldn't understand. "We're being pulled into the gate," Ceres said, her voice tight. "But it's not just spatial. It's metaphysical." Kayla was gripping her station hard enough to leave marks on the crystal. "What does that even mean?" "It means," I said, feeling the weight of 100 unknowns, "we're not just flying somewhere. We're being taken somewhere else entirely." Light bent around us until we weren't in space anymore. The ship floated in a surreal, dreamlike realm, giant, glowing glyphs spun in the void, and time pulsed like a heartbeat. The crew looked dazed, and even the ship's systems were flickering like they couldn't process what they were seeing. Then, without transition, we were no longer on the ship. I stood in a field of ash and fire. Alone. Mountains loomed, crumbling in slow motion. The sky above me roiled with faces made of smoke, whispering things I couldn't understand. The air tasted like regret. A voice, my voice, spoke behind me. I turned. There I was. Another version of me. Same face. Same clothes. But his eyes were dark, cold. Like all the worst parts of myself had grown claws and learned to smile. So this is what they chose, he sneered. A glorified truck driver pretending to be a hero. What is this place? I asked, fists clenched. Trial of the soul, he said. The gate doesn't care about fleets or weapons. It wants to know what's inside. And you, he stepped closer, you're empty. All instincts, no purpose. You think tactics and luck make you a leader? I never asked to be a leader, I spat. But I won't walk away. He smirked. Then let's see if you survive you. He attacked. It wasn't a brawl. It was a collapse. Every fear I'd ever had, every guilt I buried deep, he threw them at me. Memories twisted into weapons. Failures I tried to forget screamed into my face. Every punch landed like a confession. But I fought back. Not with strength. With truth. I don't need to be perfect, I shouted, blocking a blow. I just need to keep going. I drove my elbow into his side. He staggered. I don't pretend to have all the answers, I said, slamming my knee up into his jaw. But I'm here. I show up. I try. That's more than most. He growled and tackled me. We rolled across the field. And then it stopped. He vanished, like dust blown away by wind. The world folded in on itself, and suddenly I was back on the bridge of the *Valerieth star. Alarms were blaring. Commander. Ceres was shaking me. Her eyes were wild. You've been out for 6 minutes. You just collapsed. The ship froze. Everything froze. I was somewhere else, I said, coughing. My body ached like I'd been electrocuted and set on fire. It made me fight myself. Kayla turned from the weapons station. We all did. Some didn't win. 2 of our crew are still down. I looked at the screen. We weren't alone. Dozens of ships, different species, different designs, floated in the surreal space with us. All of them marked with the eye of the gate. But they weren't fighting anymore. They were watching. A beam of light shot from the center of the fractal sky and painted the *Valerieth* with its glow. What's happening now? I whispered. Ceres was reading data so fast her fingers were blurring. The gate is marking us, evaluating. Suddenly, it spoke. Not with sound. With feeling. An emotion slammed into us like a solar flare, curiosity, judgment, wonder, and something else. Approval. The *Valerieth* surged with energy. All systems went online. Weapons, shields, propulsion more powerful than before. Blue fire licked the hull like the ship had been reborn. Kayla grinned. I think we passed the test. One test, I said, my voice hoarse. What now? Outside, the other ships began to vanish, one by one. Some dissolved peacefully. Others blinked out in pulses of light. Only a few remained. Only those who passed continue, Ceres said. The gate, it's filtering. Choosing. Then, the final transformation began. The *Valerieth* itself changed, its structure folding, expanding. It grew, adapted, evolved. Entire new systems formed across its frame, organs of living metal, wings of light, weapons I couldn't begin to name. Commander, Ceres said, awe in her voice. The ship is rewriting itself. To match you. Me. The pilot. The leader. The survivor. The ship's voice entered my mind, not words, but presence. It was alive, aware, and it had chosen me. We're approaching phase 3, Kayla said, now looking uneasy. And I think this one won't just test us. It'll test the entire quadrant. The gate pulsed once more. A new message scrolled across our screen. Final trial. Begin the unmaking. I didn't know what that meant. But whatever was coming, it wasn't just about survival now. It was about remaking the galaxy or watching it fall apart. The stars burned white as phase 3 began. The *Valerieth*, now fully awakened, soared through a realm beyond space and time, no longer bound to the laws of physics we knew. Everything outside the viewport was shifting, collapsing, rebuilding. Space itself was being rewritten. Inside the ship, we felt it in our bones, the hum of cosmic reckoning. Unmaking protocol initialized, Ceres whispered. Whatever this phase is, it's rewriting more than just ships. Kayla stood beside her console, tense. It's rewriting reality. The gate spoke again, this time with unmistakable finality. Asterisk to ascend, you must choose what to destroy. Asterisk. A new interface bloomed across the command deck. It displayed maps of the galaxy, territories, factions, ancient conflicts frozen in data and time. Every war, every oppression, every planetary genocide encoded in glowing, undeniable truth. We were given a choice: erase the broken systems. Uproot the old empires. Undo the suffering. But the cost? Entire civilizations would fall. History would shift. And there would be no going back. This is the unmaking, I said quietly. The final test isn't if we can survive war, it's whether we deserve peace. Ceres turned to me. What if we choose wrong? I stared at the choices. The Empire of Vras had enslaved hundreds of systems. The dreadnought consumed their enemies for energy. The consortium bled planets dry with economic strangulation. We could erase their power from the timeline. But what about the innocent people living under them? I stepped forward. Display alternative. The ship responded. A third path emerged. One no council, no warlord, no AI had ever chosen. Asterisk lead without destruction. Asterisk. Can we do that? Kayla asked. Can we fight without unmaking? We try, I said. I made the choice. We rejected the destruction. We refused the erasure. We chose to confront darkness, not by wiping it out, but by standing against it with truth, fire, and unity. The gate shuddered. Light fractured. Then, silence. The Valerieth stabilized, floating now above a new star system, one that hadn't existed before. Around us, the remaining gate-chosen ships emerged. Some heavily damaged. Some entirely transformed. A voice, different from before, echoed across every mind. You chose the path of courage. Not to end history, but to redeem it. You have passed. The gate dissolved into stardust. And from that stardust came signals, calls for alliance, reunification, rebuilding. Across the galaxy, power structures trembled. Old empires found themselves without weapons. Oppressed systems found hope. The ship we commanded was now the symbol of something bigger than any fleet. The idea that power doesn't have to corrupt. That leadership isn't about control, it's about responsibility. Weeks passed. We became peacebringers. Not conquerors. The Valerieth became the flagship of a growing alliance, a movement for justice and balance. I met leaders from across the stars, helped negotiate treaties where there had once been war. And my crew? They became my sisters. My guardians. My family. One night, Ceres approached me on the observation deck. The stars were quiet. The galaxy, for once, wasn't screaming. Do you regret it? Not choosing the unmaking? I shook my head. The hard road teaches more. Anyone can destroy. Few choose to fix. She nodded. You taught us that. I smiled. No. You all taught me. I just listened. As the Valerieth hummed beneath our feet, alive, at peace, I realized the truth. Leadership isn't about knowing everything. It's about listening. About stepping up when no one else will. And about choosing to protect, even when it's easier to destroy. That was humanity's gift. And that's what the gate was really testing all along. The moral. Sometimes, the most powerful weapon in the universe is mercy.